Today we're going over the 2026 Bridal banner in Fire Emblem Heroes. This year we have a Fey OC assortment of Eir, Peony, Reginn, and a duo of Ash plus Melíai. We'll go over everyone's stats and skills, plus discuss journal playstyle and build ideas. The 4-star focus unit is Bridal Eir. You can get her at 4 or 5-star rarity. Bridal Eir may be a 4-star focus unit, but she has some interesting unique skills. For this ult, Eir is a flying blue dagger unit, so she completes the full color spectrum. Eir has 38 HP, 44 attack, 48 speed, 16 defense, and 49 resistance. She has a nice speed super boon. For ult skills, Eir has the best skill in the game, reposition, and that's all she needs. Eir's unique weapon is Bride of Life. If a rally or movement assist is used by Eir or targets Eir, she restores 20 HP to allies within 2 spaces of both herself and the ally after movement. In addition, everyone that got healed also has their negative statuses cleansed. If Eir is the one who uses the assist skill, she gets an extra action. For other effects, Eir gets contact distance with a max of 3, minimum of 1. She has slaying plus 15 stats in combat, deals 25 true damage, and has 15 flat damage reduction. Last, Eir has the 100% potent follow-up effect. She gets a 10 speed advantage to try and get that extra hit. Combat-wise, you got the fairly standard stuff, and then with contact distance and 100% potent. What's really interesting is that Eir kinda has Emblem Makai's healing and cleansing ability, but it's a bit different. First, Eir can trigger her ability by getting assisted by someone else. Second, Eir doesn't cleanse stat debuffs, she only cleanses negative statuses. That's kinda strange. Now, obviously, if possible, Eir would like to be the one assisting because then she gets to go again. She won't be able to use those fancy lookout dagger skills, but Eir has a unique C skill called Exuberant Boost. For Eir and allies within 3 rows or columns, or allies on the map with more than half HP, she gives them plus 5 stats in combat, 7 true damage, 7 flat DR, and pre-impulses -1 instant cooldown. For her own combat, Eir negates adaptive damage. She deals true damage equal to 6 times the number of healthy allies on the map. Excluding herself, if you have 3 healthy allies, Eir can deal 18 true damage max. In addition, Eir has full enough follow-up to go at her good speed, and like her previous ult, Eir has built-in Miracle. Mythic Eir's unique C skill got a global range buff for plus 5 res to healthy allies. Well, that's been improved just a tad bit this time. Plus 5 to all stats, 5 true damage and flat TR, and pre-impulse cooldown. Eir can heal by assisting thanks to her weapon if you need to top off for this effect. Now, combat-wise, we got more good stuff, no follow-up and Miracle to be annoying, plus Eir can fight dragons with her high resistance. As a reminder, Eir is a 4-star focus unit. Her interesting fodder skill is actually a new speed and defense variant of Detect Aerial. This one upgrades from speed and defense snag. For foes on the map with less res than the user, inflict -5 speed and defense, neutralize their speed and defense field boss, and they suffer 10 true damage. For the user, they inflict another -4 debuffing and get an extra 8 true damage. Detect Aerial is for ranged cows and flyers, minus healers. If foes are neutralizing stat debuffs and are cleansing your statuses, you can try to hit them with these long range effects. Only way to not get affected is to have higher res or to have feud. Bridal Eir is a pretty neat 4-star focus unit. She has AoE healing and penalty cleansing abilities along with her own extra action. With Detect Aerial and Exuberant Boost, Eir can give plus 5 stats, inflict -5 speed and defense, neutralize speed and defense field buffs, give allies 17 true damage, and -1 instant cooldown. This is assuming Eir wins a flat res check, so you can run flat res skills like Still or Crystalline Water. For her own combat, Eir is decently fast and has that 100% potent follow-up effect. She can use no follow-up to get to that extra attack, plus she has Miracle to survive incoming attacks. Eir has Slaying with Pre-Impulse. It's not the craziest cooldown, but if you trigger the third 100% potent hit, then she can trigger things like Arch Rival, Ice Wall, or Lethality. Do take note that Eir does not heal after combat. If you want to loop Miracle in the same phase, you need Mystic Boost, or the hard-to-get Attack and Speed Airspace. I think that's the only non-sacred seal with sustained healing. If you do have some kind of healing, Eir can run Close Shot, just to mess with people in melee range. Now, for other skills, Eir could use Disarm Rumor, Havoc, or Shackle for more support effects. Detect Aerial is fine, but if you don't want to stack flat res, there are other options. For combat, Execution Breath or Speed Taker can give extra cooldown. If Eir does end up on low HP, she could use Desperation with her no follow-up and potent effects to get a kill later on. Last, if possible, try to give Eir and her team extra mobility. That will open up more options to activate her healing and cleansing, and Eir can use her own assist to trigger an extra action. Reposition is great, but you can always run another movement assist or even a rally if you want. Overall, Bridal Eir is neat. She does offer some healing and cleansing while having global range support. Like always, Miracle is annoying if she does need to fight. Our next unit is Bridal Peony, who is a sword-flying dancer. Peony has 40 HP, 45 attack, 48 speed, 21 defense, and 35 resistance. She has a speed super boon with all-right attack, although obviously Peony won't beat the sturdiest unit ever. To pair with her dancing, Peony's one old skill is Shadow Smite. She can dance then kanto behind an ally to give them a little shove. Peony's weapon is Braided Blade. For allies within 3 rows or columns, grant +5 stats, 10 true damage, 10 flat DR, and pre-impulses -1 instant cooldown. For herself, Peony has Pass, and she has 2 space warping to get into dancing position. Combat-wise, Peony has the usual stuff: Slaying, +15 stats, 25 true damage, 15 flat DR, and her own pre-impulse effect. Peony will be able to throw down a little bit with this ult, but generally she should be focusing on support. 2 space pass warping is great to maneuver around. Peony has some common long-range support effects, but she does pump it up to 10 true damage and flat DR. Peony's unique dance skill is Tender Vision, grants another action to an ally, and re-enables their kanto. At start of either phase, Peony grants Reflex and Empathy statuses to allies within 3 spaces. After start of turn effects or either phase, Peony neutralizes stat debuffs and cleanses 2 statuses on allies within 3 spaces. Like Halloween Peony, this ult also has Reflex for damage reflection and Empathy for stat support. Bridal Peony applies it at start of either phase, whereas Halloween Peony needed to dance and line up with allies. Instead of her usual +5 field buffing, this ult has the same penalty cleansing effect as Saline's ults or the Archelantona staff. This is another Micaiah ability, funnily enough. Saline's version does work from 3 spaces, but it only neutralizes stat debuffs instead of harsh commanding them into field boss. It's still a really good effect, either way. Now, Peony introduces a new Dancer B skill called Speed and Defense Allure. It upgrades from speed or defense cantrip. Unlike the cantrip skills, your dancer needs to have their dance ability equipped as an assist to get the following effects. Using Bot's Ring will not count. Now, Allure is pretty neat. At start of turn and after acting, inflict -7 speed and defense that get doubled up with the Sabotage status. On top of that, you also inflict speed and defense shackle for in-combat debuffs. For the dancer, they were going to get kanto distance +1 with a max of 4 and minimum of 2. Combat-wise, the dancer inflicts -4 speed and defense, deals 15 true damage, and gets 7 flat DR. Last, if they outspeed the enemy, they get no follow-up. This is why I said earlier that this Peony can fight a little bit. Allure isn't just pure support, you get true damage, flat DR, and no follow-up. Allure also grants a new variation of kanto distance. Even if you didn't move, you get kanto to minimum, and this works for melee or ranged dancers. Infantry dancers can get in on the kanto fun. Now, as for actual support effects, you no longer have to dance to activate debuffs. Allure works at start of turn or after acting of any kind. Foes can get hit with -7 speed and defense field buffs, which turn into -7 speed and defense in combat with Sabotage. On top of that, you can potentially inflict another -8 speed and defense with Shackle if you can find one more status. Altogether, -22 speed and defense from one skill is pretty solid. Bridal Peony will be focusing on dancing like usual, but she has 2 space warping to get around and changes up her usual supporting method. One big difference from past Peony ults is that this one doesn't need to dance first to apply her boss. She has effects that trigger from long range for allies or start of either phase. This applies to all her new skills. Let's take stock of what Peony's offering. From long range, you got Braided Blade gives +5 stats, 10 true damage, and flat DR, along with pre-impulse cooldown. Tender Vision gives Reflex, Empathy, and 3 space penalty cleansing. Allure inflicts a barrage of speed and defense field and in-combat debuffs. After Peony dances a friend, she can even Shadow Smite an ally into battle. Sounds pretty fun to me. Now, for other support skills, you can use a Guidance Sacred Seal to warp allies in, then dance them. Peony has a couple interesting C skills if you don't need Shadow Smite. She has half of the skill already, but Hold Guide gives allies 2 space warping. To charge into battle, Peony can hold Strat Assault for the team. If you want to give allies no follow-up, you can use no Uplift, or to synergize with the Reflex Damage Reflection, Peony can use Uplift Imbue for healing. Now for some other Sacred Seal options, Chill Attack or Chill Res can go with the Sabotage status. Peony can stack Rain for personal and team debuffs. As for combat, Peony can use Trample for a basic Desperation build, but Allures no follow-up. If you want %DR, Haste Slice is a lower cooldown option, but Peony can also run Shatter Slash, Celestial Form, or Arch Rival. As a dancer, always fun if you can get an extra action with Gale Force. Peony would need extra cooldown though. If you want, she could use Momentum B skills or Execution Breath. To regain Kanto, there is Blue Skies and Aerospace in the A slot. Allure's Kanto effect is pretty great, but there are other ways to go about it. In the end, Peony's still a support dancer first, and her base kit is already set up quite nicely. No dancing required to help the team this time, and access to Reflex is always alluring. that's for sure. Our next unit is Bridal Reginn, who is also a rearmed hero. Reginn is an Axe Cavalier this time with 40 HP, 46 attack, 48 speed, 40 defense, and 21 res. She has a nice speed super boon and higher defensive bulk to survive some counterattacks. Reginn does have a pretty potent follow-up. For old skills, Reginn has Blue Sky Gust and Attack and Speed Outcry Seize. Very nice selection of cavalry skills. Reginn's axe is the Arcane Cake. At start of either phase, grants plus 6 defense and res, empathy, and low statuses to allies within 2 spaces. The rest of the perks are the standard 4th gen arcane effects. Slaying, plus 15 stats, 25 true damage, 15 Excel type flat DR, and 50% DR piercing. Arcane Cake is the 4th arcane axe. Besides the usual arcane perks, which are all fine, this weapon focuses on stat support with its extra effect. Defense and res field buffing with empathy for in-combat buffs, and then low to neutralize enemy buffs. Just like Rearmed Young Ingrid, Reginn's weapon has defense and res field buffing to stack with the attack and speed Hone Cavalry Siege skills. To stand out, Reginn has upgraded her unique special to Sather Cannon, which is now on 4 cooldown. It boosts damage by 80% speed and has adaptive damage. At start of either phase, Reginn grants Truly Incited and Dawn statuses for more stats and some regular percent DR. Reginn herself will get 40% unpierceable DR for all hits taken. Now, instead of pre-charging her special at the start of the turn, Reginn gets instant cooldown in combat before her first attack and before her first follow-up attack. On turns 1 through 4, Reginn gets 3 cooldown, which would charge the Slaying Sather Cannon. For turns 5 onward, she only gets -1 cooldown. Last, for the first 4 turns, Reginn gets a guaranteed 100% potent follow-up. From turn 5 onward, Reginn has the usual 100% potent effect, but only the 10 speed advantage. Alrighty, so Sather Cannon is updated for the modern high cooldown standards and adds more team support. Reginn can charge Sather Cannon twice in the first 4 turns, and since your 100% potent follow-up is guaranteed during that time, then this is bound to happen. We do not usually see a guaranteed 100% potent hit with no other conditions. If you gave Reginn Brave attacks, for example, even if she didn't quad, she would still do 3 full damage hits, and 2 of those are going to be with a special unless the foe has Scowl. Speaking of Scowl, Reginn brings her own with Riptide Guard. Do not let the name fool you, this is actually a Flow Guard 4 upgrade. It now works on both phases, which is excellent. It inflicts -4 to all stats in combat and gives full flop effects. This skill gives true damage and flat DR equal to 20% of the greater of your user's speed or defense. We then have the full selection of anti-special perks. First, you get Defensive Temple to disable breath type cooldown. Second, you inflict Guard to negate regular cooldown charging. Third, if initiating, you inflict +1 cooldown on the foe before their first attack. Riptide Guard may sound familiar because Impetus Guard is also kinda a Flow Guard 4 upgrade. Impetus Guard has Momentum's cooldown effect, but it does not have no follow-up nor defensive tempo. Riptide Guard is even more focused on anti-special charging, plus no follow-up is good to have for faster units. A very important thing to notice though is that its prerequisite is Guard 3, not Flow Guard 3. This makes Riptide Guard incredibly easy to inherit. I assume they had to make this change because the Dragons and Beast units cannot use Flow Guard, but since they can use Riptide Guard, they needed to swap to something else. That works out in our favor though, so I'm not complaining. Rearmed Bridal Reginn will be strongest in the first 4 turns, which is pretty usual. She has some nasty firepower by being able to instantly ready Sather Cannon on her first hit. That will have adaptive damage and 50% piercing. On her first follow-up attack, Reginn will rearm her cannon for another salvo. In the first 4 turns, this follow-up is guaranteed because of 100% potent hit. Even if Reginn gets outsped, she is gonna double no matter what. Now, 2 hits are great, but we can make it 3 by just getting a regular follow-up. Riptide Guard's no follow-up effect should allow this against slower foes, and its anti-special perks are there to help Reginn survive a counterattack so she can unleash her second special. For more survivability, Arcane Cake and Outcry Seize stack a ton of field buffs and in-combat buffs. Low will neutralize the enemy's field buffing, and then Reginn has 40% unpierceable DR, 40% dodge regular DR, and then a bunch of flat DR from her weapon, Blue Skies, and Riptide. You can add Blue Skies in the Sacred Seal slot for more of that as well. For other skills, Reginn could run Emblem Sigurd's Ring for forward movement and Kanto, which would allow her to run Rival Break. Pretty expensive upgrade, but that's an option. In the B slot, Riptide is fine, but Reginn could technically skip worrying about getting hit and just use Desperation to 2-tap immediately. Her Sather Cannon would charge on both hits anyway. Now, if a foe has Scowl effects, you could offset them with Momentum cooldown. It's another expensive upgrade, but Reginn could use Momentum Echo if this is a worry for you. For C skills, if you are not facing Nerg or Tina, you can use any of the other home cavalry options. Bellow can give allies breath type cooldown, or you can use Liberate for more in-combat stats. If you're worried about healing or a miracle, Reginn could also use Fatal Smoke. Since Brave attacks could get by Riptide's anti-special perks, I will mention Deflect Melee. If she fully outspeeds for dodge, Reginn normally would have 64% damage reduction. If the foe doesn't have DR Piercing, then Deflect would pump that up to 92% on the Brave attack portion. In conclusion, Bridal Rearmed Reginn has a pretty clear early game plan. After turn 4, she still gets cooldown and potent, just less cooldown and the regular 100% potent condition. Like usual, if you're going to be using Reginn on your team, you do want to start fighting as soon as possible. The last unit for this banner is duo Bridal Ash and Melíai. Like their father's duo ult, these two will be a colorless infantry mage. For stats, Ash has 40 HP, 48 attack, 13 speed, 45 defense, and 47 res. Not often do we break records on the lower side, but 13 base speed is the new lowest just for base stats. Ironically, Ash is going to have a speed super boon. You're probably going to want the attack super boon instead. For ult skills, Ash has Legendary Leon's kit of Comet with attack and res Unrest. Unrest gives Conta 1 and compares flat res with foes to inflict attack and res debuffs with anti-healing. The user can also get true damage and flat DR. Ash's weapon is Uniting Bouquet. Assert of either phase grants +6 attack, defense, and res, fringe bonus, bulwark, and imbue to allies within 2 spaces. For herself, Ash has +5 phantom res and slaying. She gets +16 attack, defense, and res, deals 25 true damage, and has 15 flat DR. Ash then inflicts guard and gets her own instant cooldown equal to the number of allies within the rows or columns. First off, Ash provides a ton of buffs, +6 to 3 stats, which are going to get doubled in combo with fringe bonus. Bulwark would then help protect the backline, and Imbue provides excellent healing ability. All of this happens within 3 spaces, which is pretty good. Now, Ash has the usual combat effects, but also a good instant cooldown perk. If there are 3 allies in her range, she can get -3 cooldown. With Slaying and Comet's own -1 cooldown effect, this will trigger the special immediately. For Ash's unique C skill, she has Inaugural Vassal. Ash retains her 2-space warping for friends. For Ash and for allies within the rows or columns, she grants +5 attack, defense, and res, 7 true damage, 7 flat DR, full tempo, and 40% damage reflection. For herself only, Ash will have Arvel's full weapon triangle advantage against the all 3 color types. This does negate triangle depth effects though, so you can't abuse it. Last, with their blistering 13 speed, Ash gets a free fob attack. Ash isn't a beast this time, but she still has tempo and will share with friends. 40% damage reflection is nice, and Ash can heal her team with Imbue. You also got the 2-space warping like usual. Now, Ash doesn't have any specific weapon triangle mechanics, but it's nice to get that free advantage. Not gonna say no to free extra damage and tankiness. For their dual skill, allies within 2 spaces will get Reflex. In addition, Ash deploys Divine Vein Stone within 2 spaces, lasting for 2 turns. The 40% damage reflection effect won't stack with, say, Briar Save or Counter Roar, but it does stack with Reflex because it's a different type of damage reflection. Obviously, Reflex is the stronger effect, but having both is really fun. For more survivability, the Stone Terrain buffs defense and res and reduces special damage. It can help mitigate AoEs if that's something you're struggling with. For the last new inheritable skill on the banner, Ash has Close Attack, Defense, and Res Bond. The name is quite literal. This is just a bond force skill combined with Close Counter. Along with counterattacking versus melee foes, if within 3 spaces of an ally, you get +10 attack, defense, and res, neutralize attack, defense, and res debuffs, and then you get 7 flat DR for first attacks. Close Bond unfortunately upgrades out of Close Counter, so it's a bit tougher to get. It is usable by all range units though, even healers. While we do have the Close Counter Sacred Seal, Close Bond's debuff neutralization is nice. The +10 to 3 different stats is also pretty spicy. Generally speaking, duo Ash and Melíai can establish a front line to tank with. Ash provides warping for less mobile allies, and team-wide Bulwark can protect your backline. For battle, you have Field Balls doubled by Fringe bonus for everything minus speed. Ash adds extra true damage and flat DR support and grants 40% damage reflection with Imbue to heal back up. To really stand your ground, you can use the dual skill for full-on reflex and the Divine Vein Stone Terrain. For her own Comet, Ash is pretty simple. Each turn, Slaying Comet goes to 3 cooldown with its own -1 cooldown effect. If Ash has 3 allies within 3 rows or columns, she will trigger Comet immediately. If allowed, she can also try to follow up with some damage reflection. Now, if Ash is the one who gets attacked first, she will use the 40% DR from Comet along with Close Counter from her A skill. Ash also neutralizes debuffs, which is good, and this time her Comet will get backed up with the damage reflection, true damage. Lastly, Ash has a weapon triangle advantage against all 3 colors, just for a little extra bonus. If you're worried about desperation, you can bring good old Hardy Bearing so Ash can get her counter off. Generally, Ash's kit is fine as is, but if you prefer a more aggressive setup, you could run Aria and Demonic Force. With a 4 cooldown special, these 2 skills will add 40 true damage. Also, since Ash is super slow, she will get doubled by pretty much everyone. Comet can protect for first attacks, but not for follow-ups. If you want to use logic, Ash can get 40% DR for all hits, but only when initiating. This could be okay though, since if Ash survives, she may be able to warp allies forward, something to consider. Another fun, or I guess annoying, special could be Miracle. Ashes can bring Miracle down to 1 cooldown, and then 1 attack from her will charge it thanks to tempo. Imbue can also provide healing for another chance to reactivate it in the next fight. On that topic, one nice thing about having Unrest is that Ash can cut enemy healing at least partially. This can help if you're in a standoff with another tanky team. Now if you want to stack flat stats, Ash can use Squad Ace DB or Stronghold in the A slot. I think Unrest is fine to keep, but you could also run something like Havoc if you want another debuffing method. All in all, Dual Ash has some good support effects if you want to set up a tank formation. She also has the fun Instant Comet plus Close Counter setup. If you're not able to punch through her team's defenses, Ash is gonna warp in the reinforcements. Onto the Tempest Trials rewards, this month you can get Bridal Anna. This is the Awakening Anna, and she's a green bow cav with decent offensive stats. Anna's Heartbroker bow has Kanto Ally 2. This is a warp Kanto effect, so Anna can warp to an ally within 2 spaces after acting. For combat, she has Slaying and gets plus 10 stats if you pay up 5 Dragon Flowers. Anna deals true damage equal to 15% speed and has offense no follow-up. Fodder-wise, Anna has Remote Sparrow for 30% regular DR when initiating. She can pair that with Seal Defense 4 for potentially minus 11 defense or some of the debuffs for it guard. Now Anna's last skill is actually really valuable, so definitely get the free copy. Colorless Feud only disables all support auras if you fight a colorless foe, and you get minus 4 stat debuffs. If you face a red, blue, or green foe, you're only going to disable support auras from colorless units like the new Ash. Now, Colorless Feud is a little niche itself, but the feud part is super strong. However, Colorless Feud is also needed to get the Beast Feud C skills. This would be Preempt Screech, Dark Beast Force, and the recent Dark Beast Agility from Fallen to Barn. For whatever reason, they only upgrade out of Colorless Feud, so Bridal Anna can be a nice pickup if you're interested in a Beast project. Now onto the Sacred Seals for this Tempest Trials. Defense and Res Clash 3 is usable by melee infantry, cows, and flyers. If unit or foe moves while initiating, you get defense and res equal to 5 plus the number of spaces moved. If the initiator moves 3 spaces, you can get a nice plus 8 defense and res. Clash skills are fine stat boosters, although typically most Clash users want attack because they're on the move themselves to go initiate on someone. With that being said, units have so much mobility these days that it's not that hard to trigger the full plus 8 defense and res bonus. The next Secret Seal is Attack and Defense Tempo 3, which works for infantry allies. Inflict minus 3 attack and defense and gain full tempo effects, which are no extra special charging and no guard. In other words, tempo allows units to always get at least minus 1 cooldown per action, and if you have breath or blade type cooldown, you guarantee the minus 2 cooldown they give if the foe has guard. On the flip side, you can get rid of enemy breath or blade type cooldown. That will slow down their high cooldown special needs, which is good since pretty much everyone is running 4 or 5 cooldown specials. The last new Sacred Seal from this month was released earlier, not from the Tempest Trials, but by completing the 106 Squad Assault, you can get Squad Ace DB. This variant grants plus 6 HP and plus 4 flat defense and res. Clash's plus 8 stat boost is nice, but 6 more HP is quite tempting, especially for a tank. Personally, I would upgrade Squad Ace DB before defense and res Clash out of this batch. That's it for this year's Bridal banner, at least the theme name is accurate now. Now if you're short on orbs, you may want to wait a little bit because we probably know what the next banner is after the May monthly banner. The new Heroes banner in June does not have a Forging Bonds nor a Grand Hero battle, so that seems to imply we're getting a harmonic CYO 3 units along with Chosen Leg Yarn. If that sounds interesting to you, maybe wait a couple weeks to confirm. Also, after that is the double summer banners, so good luck saving orbs. Thank you for watching, good luck if you're going to be summoning on this banner, and I will see you in the next video.